Welcome to this episode of Let's Share series by I Love Children, a voluntary welfare organization who strives to be Singapore's one-stop portal for parenthood and fertility help. Today we have with us financial expert Paul, and we also have our guest, blogger, I Love Children's blogger Ivan. Today we'll be discussing the dollars and cents to know before you start a family. For newlywed couples, most of them will want to have the home of their own. So I believe Ivan she falls in this category. So Ivan, do you want to share?
Okay, so for us, I think I would say it's quite a lucky thing, right? Because we were dating, and then I don't know at which point we actually tried for BTO. We didn't know that we would get it, and within, I think, when we were 10 months together, we got our BTO number. Yeah, it was number 14, so we knew that we got it already. So in terms of money, the first payment you give is $10 only, right? Then only subsequently the deposits, I think was $10,000. Yeah, one of the first few payments we made was that, and then paid about it is $187,000. Yeah, and we went for a 15 years loan. Okay, and it's $600 a month.
Alright. Did you plan for that, or just because you got that BTOQ number 14 and then you're now committed to the property? Did you plan for it, or what was?
Definitely didn't go. I didn't plan it to happen so fast because a lot of our friends were telling us it's very hard to get. Like my own brother-in-law, he tried 8 times.
Oh.
He didn't get it, and then in the end he decided to go for a condo, and we got it immediately. Of course. Yeah, so we tried for the first time and we got it.
Okay.
So then I had to realize that okay, that means I need to marry this guy. Thank goodness it all works out. Yeah, so I'm saying it's a lucky thing. Everything falls into place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your typical Singapore romance, BTO, get married, have a child. Just kidding, right? But over here, I think my advice for newlyweds would be very different in that sense, right? Because a lot of time we don't have proper visibility of how we're going to get that roof over our head, right? So in Ivan's case, is again got that queue, and then voila, there's a house. But what she also have got herself into is a major liability, right? So again, she probably would have used your CPF, and CPF would have cleared her account there, right? Or HDB would clear the account there, so that she would have a shorter tenure of loan. Now again, for each of you, my advice is that if you could also take a longer tenure of loan, right? And you can shorten it anytime you want, versus taking a shorter loan and you couldn't extend it later if you want to. So those are some of the options for taking up a loan. Now, I'm going to ask Ivan this question. Did you take a bank loan or a HDB loan, and why?
It was a HDB loan.
Right. So was there any reason why, or did you consider a bank loan?
That time I think I was only 24 years old. So what we knew was the bank loan is very the interest is very high, higher than HDB loan. That's what we know. So we just went ahead with HDB.
Yeah. So actually that is totally reverse from the fact.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of time, if you don't check that, right? So for fact check, right, bank loans are very, very low. Now, I did talk about this again. In Singapore, our bank rates have been very, very low for the last 20 years, right? Whereas CPF, their rates are at 2.6% for HDB loans. So CPF is at 2.5% for your ordinary account. HDB will add on a 0.1%. So that becomes at 2.6% throughout your loan, right? The only time that will increase if CPF ordinary account interest rate increase. Now, whereas banks, they would actually operate on a SIBOR rate, meaning to say the rates can be very low. Currently, SIBOR would be about 0.6 or 0.7, right, depending on when we are talking about or when you're viewing this video. But the bank will add a spread. So they usually add a spread of 0.8. So overall, your interest rate from the bank could be as low as 1.5-ish versus 2.6. So now if you know this as a fact, would you make a difference in borrowing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you possibly want to explore those options, right? Now, however, having said that, CPF have got slight advantage, right? So for Yvonne, probably when she used the CPF, the advantage is that she only paid 10% down payment because she's using from her CPF HDB loans. Whereas if you take a bank loan, then your down payment currently is at 25%.
Oh.
So that makes a difference in terms of cash flow and outlay.
Yeah.
Right? But this is a typical Singapore romance story. You get your HDB and then you get married. But there are a lot of other choices. Like Rose, what was your choice of housing?
Stay with the parents.
Best choice, right? That's really a very, very good choice. Again, here in Singapore, that's a very, very good choice. A lot of time, your parents wish you are still around and their grandchildren are around, and getting married and having the family all together is most of our typical Asian parents' wish, right? But because of the Western thought process, we want a house of our own, we stay out, and then only to realize that how you wish your parents kind of visit you every day and take care of your kids, that kind of support. Right. So for me, I don't have in-laws or parents to take care of our kids, so we have to have to be a hands-on dad, take care of them ourselves. But again, my advice is that there are options that you can do. Right, when you get married, you don't have to buy your house immediately. You could stay your parents. Another option is that you can actually rent. Right, rent a place small enough for your couple time, your 2人世界.
You work from home.
A work from home space, alright? So, you know what work from home means now. Huh? So again, this is what you could do as an option. Now, while you do that, right, renting a smaller space, you could amass a lot more cash for a proper deposit. You could set aside proper saving towards buying your dream house later on, because your dream house will keep shifting. Right, as your child grows older, then you might consider about, hey, should I shift to this school just to get into that, that particular primary school that you like, or your alumni and stuff like that. So these things change. While they are younger, you want to buy a house near your parents. As they grow older, you want to buy the house near the school. So you have not thought through that clearly. So the best way is to hold on, rent first. Right, that's a good option. Or hold on, stay with your parents. All right. So again, these are very, very good financial decisions that you could make as an option. So buying your own house is not the first thing you should go after here in today's property market environment.
So Paul, let's say a newly wedded couple has a monthly household income of $5,000. How can they manage their finances and have children?
Well, it's not difficult to build a family with $5,000 a month. It always seems not enough, right? So the best way still is to follow the ruler, right? So over here we're going to tell you how you could budget your finance. With $5,000 a month, you could carve it up into this different segment. Right? First of all, reduce your expenditure to 55%, and these are your fixed and necessity expenditure. Right? If you can live with that, you would then have enough budget for many other things in life, like planning for retirement using our 10% for your financial freedom fund. The other 10% would be set aside for your next purpose in life. Okay? Then you have 25% left for edu fund. So education, 10%, and fund, 10%. This part, 5% of charity, is where you can give, right, to not just a charity organization, but to friends and people in need, and also people that are close to you, right? Their loved ones, for their Valentine's Day gift, for their birthday, for Christmas, for anniversary, and all those cost money, right? So you can use from this account to build and foster better relationships, right? Now, everything else you need to have emergency funds, 3 months worth of your expenses. That is just to tide you through in case a sudden loss of income, right? Other than that, this will get you through your finance from now till the end of time, all right? So that's how you could plan and budget, right? And with a $5,000 income, the next 20 years, you would have about 1.2 million passing through your hands. Now, what will you do with that money?
I Love Children did a poll recently and found that couples would consider having children if they are financially stable and they can afford childcare. So Paul, could you share what are the expenses couples should consider when planning for a baby?
One of the most initial costs would be that maternity checkup right up to the delivery cost, right? So that's one of the areas that you could plan for, right? On the average, that whole experience should be within the 10,000 range now. But I found out through Rose and Ivan that their delivery cost was so much lower than we expected, right? So maybe you can hear from Rose. How do you get a delivery cost that costs that much?
I paid $0 for delivery. So not exactly $0. Yeah, it's more of it was all from MediSave, so there was no out-of-pocket cash. Yeah, which was very helpful at that point of time as well.
Yes.
And I think it is also your choice of ward. So the ward that I chose was a 6-bedder, which was comfortable for me. Although it's just curtain, but I mean, we don't have much visitors as well, so the curtain closing is fine. Yeah. And I think we also have to thank the MediSave maternity package, which we can claim $750 to $2,150 for your delivery fees.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And your ward stay, you can claim up to $450 a day, which is very, very helpful. Yeah, and but if you're going through, let's say, the subsidized route, which you can get a referral from the polyclinic to one of the 3 government hospitals, you can you will have a subsidized route, but you have to be prepared to meet different doctors at every visit, and your delivery will possibly be delivered by midwives. So both my babies were delivered by midwives, and I was very comfortable with them. They were very experienced.
Wow, there you go. So that's a secret on how you could almost pay $0 down, but it's all a lifestyle choice. It's all a lifestyle choice. Now, I know many of you would instinctively think about going for a private clinic, private doctors, right? You could also look at government hospital, structured hospital, and taking the polyclinic route. That was amazing, right? So hitting a 0 cash outlay for delivery.
Ivan has done it too.
What? You too?
Yeah, when I was
Right, tell us about your story.
it's the same subsidized route. Then mine was an emergency C-section.
Okay.
So of course the cost will be higher, right?
Yes.
And in total, I paid out of pocket it's about $1,000. Yeah,
Okay.
because I think with C-sec the price actually is maybe 2 or 3 times more than natural birth. Yeah, so in other words, if I only pay $1,000, actually it's considered very, very low.
Couples should also know that they can actually use their MediSave to pay for fertility treatments. And the government is also co-funding up to 75% of their ART, which is the assisted conception procedures. So if you need more information on that, you can visit madeforfamilies.gov.sg. And also baby bonus cash gift. So if you're planning for baby and you are welcoming your baby soon, you can also look forward to receiving cash gifts from the government. So baby bonus cash gift, you can see it in a screen over here. And for now, if you are going to give birth before 30th of September 2022, the government will actually give you a one-off baby support grant of $3,000 additional cash, which is very good and helpful, I believe. So even as parents, we also have tax rebates. And if you are living with your parents and you have a child, you can also claim grandparents' tax rebates. Yeah. What are some cost saving tips for baby necessities? Ivan, you want to share yours?
My number one cost saving tip is like the things I buy for him. I use cloth diapers, so that saves me a lot. The initial investment in cloth diapers can be very, very, very high because you have to buy a bulk of them. You need at least 24 diapers. At least 24 diapers, but I have more than that because the prints are very cute. And yeah, so it has grown a lot, but definitely I think maybe I've spent I would say maybe $400 or $500 on diapers. But in the long run, if I'm going to pass it down to my second child, it is saving a lot because if we use disposables for 3 years, it's actually about $8,000 on disposables alone. So I think I save a lot on cloth diapers, and for milk, I'm breastfeeding. So I think I'm very lucky to be able to breastfeed until now. I mean, my child is already 1.5 years old, so I'm still breastfeeding, and you know that milk is very, very expensive. Okay, then right now there are some things that put things into perspective because I know that I don't earn a lot. So now when I want to buy something for Raphael, I will think this can wait. He doesn't need it. It's really the wants and need in the end.
Yeah, so that's a very common problem. Like even for first time dad with our first child, we're always thinking about, hey, shall we get this? It looks nice, right? Or we want it new. We're not gonna buy a second-hand credit and all that. But now with the fact that you're planning for number 2, what would you have done differently? Would you be okay to get from Carousel second-hand strollers that are like very much cheaper, or would you still insist that I should go for a new stroller for each child?
There are a lot of things you can actually find on Carousel at almost 10-10 condition. Because the best thing is, some people say, oh, their baby don't like it. Oh, okay, I grab because it will work for my baby. And also, you can resell it. I think the resale market for baby stuff is very, very good. Right? You can resell it, and then even for cloth diapers, a lot of people buy secondhand. You not only save the planet, but you also save money.
I really admire your enthusiasm with using cloth diapers, but I don't think I can survive on cloth diapers. So I do buy disposables, but I buy them in bulk. And I usually buy them when they are on sale. So with Carousel as well, I bought like very good condition carriers because the expensive stroller that I had for number 1, I thought I could keep it for number 2, but number 2 didn't like stroller at all. So that I gave it away, and I bought a second-hand carrier, Ergo, at $30. And then I decided she was too big for it, she couldn't turn. I bought another one. I cannot remember the brand, but it was in market rate, it is $200. I bought it at $50. And the person gave free delivery, so why not, right? So until today, I'm still using that second-hand carrier, and it's in 10-10 condition.
Spending on furnitures for kids. Now, all these are things that parents want them. The child don't need these furnitures, right? They want a baby sofa, they want, there you go. So a lot of times, this is where the needs and wants, right? So if again you're on a tight budget, these are not things that you should consider because the kid will outgrow this furnitures very, very fast, and then you are the one putting 10-10 conditions on Carousel.
I have another tip.
Yeah.
Okay. For my case, like for both my babies, baby shower. Okay, baby shower is when you can take advantage to ask people for things that you need, and not like because for my first one, we actually got two toys, the two same toys as present. So I decided for second child, let me think through and give them a wish list instead. So I asked for necessities like diapers, a certain brand, wet wipes, any brand, and things that I really need that I cannot have for the child, for the baby. So yes, that's one way to save cost as well, because I got a lot. I didn't have to buy diapers for 4 months.
So baby showers are a very, very good way. I think that's where you ask for necessities rather than toys, right? I guess many of us experience that our first child baby showers, you got so much toys and no place to store them, right? So again, ask for necessities. Don't be shy, and it helps your guests to give you things that you actually use. Or if not, vouchers are also very, very much welcome in that sense.
Paul, what kind of insurance should newlywed couples buy when planning to have children?
Insurance for parents. Now, we emphasize that it's very, very vital and important as parents you get yourself adequately covered, right? It's much more important than to cover your child. Okay? Why so? Is because you are the most important person for that child, right? So you have to be around. If you're not around, at least financially, there's enough for the child to grow up well as well. So first of all, you need to cover your whole family on this thing called hospital and surgical plans. That will be, better known as your shield plans, right? Those are integrated with your CPF, so it's very, very cost efficient. Okay, so that's one. Second one to have is to cover your disability income, right? Now, 9% of Singaporeans have this, meaning to say 93% of you out there do not have disability income plans. Now, these plans here protect your income stream. In case you're disabled, it will pay you every single month, approximately up to 75% of your income, right? So that's where your family, yourself, could still have a continuous income to support all these expenses and needs raising the family, all right? Now, then the important one will be death, right, and critical illnesses. So this area, you could get sufficiency. Best to have about 3 to 5 years worth of your income as the amount. And lastly, an accident plan for the whole family as well, right? Again, about 5 years worth of your income. Now, in this area, all these insurances or risk management should only take up to 10% of your budget. Now, many of you think it's very difficult to achieve all this with 10%, but I can assure you that we have done this again and again for many families as well. Now, as for children, right, they should have the same, except for one component that they don't need will be the disability income, because they are not earning an income at this point in time, right? They got you as passive income. Alright, so that's why it's important that you get yourself covered well for insurance. Okay?
For a newlywed, what can you invest on? What are the things you can invest on, and how much do you have to invest?
Okay, I have got quite a fair bit of young couples and clients, and in their mind, they always think about, I need to save up till X dollar, and typically the X dollar is like $10,000. Don't know why all of us have that thought, I need to have $10,000 before I start investing. But actually, that's not true, right? You should start even with ongoing amount of as little as $100 a month. You can start investing, right? So there are many options, but again, I would suggest follow the ruler. For long-term investments, you want to expose it to higher return. Take 10% of your income. So 10% from husband, 10% from wife. So again, that's a family income that you're setting aside for both your retirement. So that's where you can actually go into investments to grow those money for long term. So there are ways like unit trusts, as little as $100 a month. There are stocks and shares. There are many instruments, but please make sure they are regulated instruments, because you want to make sure this money is safe and you want to have a good, healthy experience on investment. Alright, so don't go for things that you don't understand. Now, the better way to do this is to attend courses or classes to teach about such instrument. Right, through there you'll find good help, mentors, speakers. Then you can ask questions how to begin. Right, and if you don't know anything, look for financial advisors. Now, they could come in the form of insurance agent, right, or independent financial advisors, or brokers, or even bankers. But more importantly, if you know them and engage them as a friend, and they treat you as a friend, then they can become a good go-to guide. right? So they can guide you through many questions that you have. But if it's for transaction, then likely you can't differentiate be it agent or banker or financial advisor from a financial advice and a sales advice. Now, this is a typical problem. You might be frightened to approach one because you don't know whether it's a sales approach or really there to help you. So please go make friends with financial advisors, and then you want to seek out people who are more experienced. All right. So again, look for someone a little bit more senior in life. They've gone through the works of buying houses, raising kids, and all that, and it's easier for them to advise you how to do the same. Okay. So I think that might be a good help.
I'm glad I'm friends with you.
Yes, anytime. Anytime. Right, recorded, we are friends. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paul, for sharing your tips and advice, and Ivan also for sharing your experiences. Now, we're almost at the end of the session. I just want to share a little giveaway that Paul would like to do. Ask your financial questions in the comment section below, and if it gets featured on Financial Ruler's social media platform, you will receive not only the Financial Ruler but also this book by Paul C. It is a good time to try for baby right now because I Love Children is also giving you free gifts because of our partners from Clear Blue, Akin and Every Moment. If you sign up for our Parenthood Pledge in the link over here, you could be one of our couples who will receive gifts from them. Together with Paul and Ivan, thank you and goodbye.
Bye.